Yo, what is going on, guys? So in this video, I'm going to be touching on something that I've already kind of touched on, but has since been patched, and that is how to stop the Taysom Hill QB blast, wide lead read option, inside zone split scheme out of the Saints playbook. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I just sat here for the last about 3 hours and watched Serious Mo play money games against a guy named Do. I mean, his gamer tag is Do got him or something like that. I'll actually go ahead and put that in the description. I don't know if Mo's going to keep these games up on his stream. It was streamed on Serious Mo's Twitch, but basically this dude ran this nonstop against Mo, and Mo had no answers for it. I don't know exactly how much Mo is down. The chat sitting there is rumored that he's down at least 3 grand. Don't know how accurate that is, but I do know they're playing for a good amount of money. And this scheme right here is giving one of the best pro players out there complete hell. So I figured I want to touch on this again because obviously if he is running into this and this guy is doing extremely well against him, then a lot of you guys probably are struggling with this same scheme. So let's go ahead and talk about it, right? So what I'm doing out of this is I have kind of switched over when I'm playing regs to the Bears live defensive book. The reason for that is it has a formation called dime rush. So I have dime rush. I've still got my 146. I've got 3-3-5 will. I've got 3-3-5 wide. I've got 2-4-5 odd. I've got nickel triple, which is actually low-key good. I've got 4-3 even 6-1, and then of course I've got the main 3-4s, right? So I've got a really good book out of the Chicago Live book. But I switched over to this because once they patched 2-4-5 odd, I was struggling with this scheme. I was struggling stopping Lamar Jackson, and in salary cap I was struggling to stop, the whole Mike Vick experience, right? So with that being said, I used dime rush, and I came across this defense, and it is a high-risk style of defense, but if they run the ball out of any of these plays, whether it's the blast, the wide lead read option, or the inside zone split, they're going to get blown up, right? The run's not going to work. And there's a tell when they're going to be passing, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you that as well. So typically what these money game players are doing is they're coming out in Taysom Hill package and they're audibling to gun Y off trio weak. The tell is by the running back. In Taysom Hill, he's offset and he lines up directly next to the quarterback in Y off trio weak. So you can typically tell right away whether they're passing or running. So most of the people will actually mix up their plays out of this, right? Good passers will do it. But I've just seen this dude take an insane amount of money off Mo, going from the runs in Taysom Hill QB package and audibling over to the place sticking up. And that's it. That's all he was doing. And like I said, let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to stop this, right? And I'll show gameplay clips of me blowing this up in a game as well against a buddy of mine. So right off the bat, we're going to show this against the blast, right? The blast is the big thing. Now, the setup and the play that I use is the play is DB blitz. It's just the easiest for me to adjust to. I can't get quick heights when I do this. So DB blitz is what I'm going to call. Now, ideally, you want your fastest players in these slot corners because they're going to be the guys coming in free. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Witherspoon and Moore there. Fred Warner can stay at linebacker. My user will be this safety right here. So it doesn't really matter who's there. So what we're doing is we're going to pinch our whole team. That's going to be the left bumper and down on the left analog stick. And you see it presses, it pinches the D-line, it pinches the linebackers. Once you do that, you want to QB contain, and then you want to move this corner out. So basically what you want is you want the D-ends in contains, and you want these slot corners blitzing, and they'll be blitzing in. Now, the other adjustment that I make is I'll bring this safety down right here, and I'll put him into an inside third. Now, I do this because he'll shoot free against the run a lot better, and typically they're going to have that if they are passing, they're going to have this guy right here going deep or on a drag route. So what I am doing is I'm playing here in the middle of the field, right, with my user. Now, if you want to just be safe and not mix up whether they're running, passing, any of that stuff, and you just absolutely want to scream at them, you'll blitz your middle linebacker as well. So this is how it'll look, right? It's a 7-man blitz. You guys should be very familiar with this from playing Madden 20. It's just the best way to stop stuff like this, right? Now, you can shade your corners to the outside. You can shade them up. Typically, that is what I'll do, especially if they have Marquise Brown out there, potentially putting him on a streak. You can also zone those outside corners out, right? So you can put them both into the outside quarters, and you're good. Now, in this scenario, you're just looking to bait underneath if they throw. And we'll get into the passing here in a second, right? But here, I'm just going to run blast, and we'll go ahead and try to glitch it out as well. So you see, boom, we try to run to the right. Safety's right there. I'm going to go ahead and set it up exactly the same. All right, so we're good. Now, say we try to run the blast to the other side. You'll see, boom, corner's right there as well. You cannot get past the corner. Now, if your opponent has good stick, they may be able to kind of dumb him out with stop and goes. But at that point, it's just up to you to play, you know, click on and make the tackle yourself, or just flow that way with your safety. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do the Y lead read option, show how that works. All right, so we're set up. Now, here's the Y lead read option. As you can see, there's nowhere really to go. Now, I'm going to actually give it to the running back here. You see, that's hitting the backfield. Now, let's go ahead and show the inside zone split. Now, I will be honest, this inside zone split was something that I didn't know people were running, but I did see him running it against Mo. So, the defense pops it, as you guys will see, but maybe that is something that threw Mo off. I know Mo had no answer for the blast at first. Once he found Blasty, then he started resorting to the read option and this inside zone. So, we'll go ahead. We're just taking care of all the runs here at one time. All right, so let's move him down. Good to go. So here, this is the inside zone split. Now you see here, safety just makes a tackle. Like, there's really nowhere to go, right? I've ran all of these plays, and I don't think I've gained a yard. I might have gained 1 or 2 max, right? So right away, that's going to show you how to blow these runs up. Now, pay attention to the audible, right? So when you audible, see how Justice Hill right here, number 43, is offset, meaning he's a step behind the quarterback. When your opponent's going to want to pass, and they audible over to Y off trio weak, your quarterback steps back and your running back kind of steps up, and now they're even, right? So there's a distinct difference and a tell when they are running and when they are passing. And you just have to look at these two players right here. So let's go ahead. We're going to audible to sticking up. We're going to set it up the exact same way. Bring this guy in. Now, what they were doing is it was a max protect, drag a tight end, streak, and a slant. So this was just his general setup. Now, he may occasionally not have put the drag by the tight end, and he may have went like this, or he would have just went like this right here with the delay tight end. So like he had a couple different setups out of the pass, but it was all this play. He was trying to hit quickly either to the tight end, this slant over here, and what he was really killing Mo with was this backside post. So I just want to show you how this pressure will work. So if they go ahead and say they do this setup right here, basically what we're doing, we're just going to guard the drag route, and you'll see that the pressure is going to come flying in. So boom, we guard the drag, pressure's coming in. It's just up to us to bait them at that point, right? And like I said, there's a tell, so we know when they're passing. We could make adjustments if we wanted to, although the audible is pretty quick. So let's go ahead and show it again. So you will want to move them in if you know they're passing. And then what you'll do here is you'll blitz this guy, like I said, and then you'll stand just directly behind the linebacker. So now when they audible over, sticking up, they're going to max protect, set up whatever route combo that they want, something that looks like this. You'll see you're going to just dumb out everybody. So just to go to the replay, I'm going to show you how this works. If you move those players in, right, and you stand directly behind this linebacker and allow the first step to be down, you'll see what happens is the linebacker is going to come in free, and the corner is also going to come in free. So it just depends on what your opponent does, right? They're not going to be able to pick this up with the typical max protect. They're going to have to slide. They're going to have to ID. They're going to have to set up pass protections that are going to be extremely annoying. And that's really, that's really all you can hope for, right? Now, yes, if they have time, they set up the pass protections, will they be able to beat this? Yeah, they're not going to be able to pick up the pressure, not easily at least. So you're going to be able to make the coverage adjustments behind it, and you should be able to get stops, right? Because this is not a dominant passing offense, especially with a team like the Ravens, if they can't run with Lamar. And that's really what they're wanting to do. And knowing the difference between, when they're running, when they're passing is also a huge little tip. All right, so now here's a little gameplay clip of me playing a buddy of mine. And this is pretty much when I first stumbled across this defense, was playing him. He was running this offense. And he was running it a little bit different, right? You'll see that he came out in the single back with the stretch, the dive, and was audibling up to the blast and then the passing plays. But as you'll see, this is the same defense, right? And he's audibling around a lot more than the guy that Mo played. So I actually had to make a lot more adjustments, and there's a lot more thinking involved in terms of what he's coming out in, what he's not coming out in. I actually like the way that Griff ran this a lot more than the way that the dude that Mo was playing ran his. But as you can see, he's already resorted to passing the ball for the most part because he can't run with the quarterback. So he's audibling up, and you'll see here, like, he's going to everything, right? He's in tight offset, he's in bunch, he's in all the, main formations, but he can't pick up the pressure. And that's really what, this is about, right? So you're going to be able to blow up the runs, and then when they pass, you're able to be aggressive defensively because they're going to have a really difficult time picking this up. Like I said, even if they're in max protect, if they don't slide ID the correct way, and keep in mind, this is something that is not a normal thing that they're facing, right? You don't typically see defenses where the DNs are in contains, the corners are on actual blitz assignments. So your typical slide protection is not going to work. And this is the perfect example of it right here. He tries to hit me with a meta bunch setup, and as you'll see, actually, it's a delay game right there, but he's going to go back to this on the next play. And you'll see right away that he has no hope at running this. And it's because your typical ways of picking up pressure, even out of your meta formations like bunch, this is not a meta blitz. So you don't have the same type of pass protection. And as you'll see, it's just going to come in screaming from everywhere. And that's what I really wanted to focus on in this video, is because you're able to stop the run, as I've shown you, and now you're able to scream at all these, passing sets. So as long as you're good at adjusting on the back end and playing with a decent user, you're going to have a lot of success against this offense.